There's a specific kind of insult that really gets under your skin.
Oh, yeah.
It's not being called lazy. It's not even being called wrong. It's being called simple.
Oof.
Yeah.
Simple feels so dismissive.
Right.
It's like someone is saying you just lack depth. You're just skimming the surface of things.
Exactly. It's so judgmental. But I was reading through the source material for today's deep dive, and it just stopped me dead in my tracks. Because the author uses that exact word, simple, but they're not using it as an insult. Not at all. They're using it as a classification, almost like a biological one.
It is a provocative way to start, for sure. We're looking at a source today that takes a concept everyone thinks they know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
That colorful triangle, yeah.
The one from Psych 101, right?
Yeah.
And it completely weaponizes it.
Weaponizes it. That's a strong word for a triangle.
Well, it fits, though. The source argues the pyramid isn't just some ladder of human progress, where you climb up and get a gold star. It argues the pyramid is a filter, a really strict, almost biological filter that divides the world into two camps, the simple and the non-simple.
And just to be clear for everyone listening, the difference here isn't about IQ, right? It's not about how many PhDs you have or something like that.
No, not at all. It's entirely about where your brain is currently held hostage.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to explore this gatekeeper theory of psychology.
Right.
We need to figure out why this source is arguing that you physically cannot think deeply, that you can't be a non-simple person until you've hacked your basic needs.
And we have to talk about the rollback.
Oh, man. The rollback.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that. That's the scary part.
That's the part that keeps people up at night.
It is. Okay, but first, let's just set the stage. Most people listening know the pyramid, right?
Yeah.
You start at the bottom with food and water.
The basics.
Move up to safety, then friends, self-esteem, and finally, right at the peak, you have self-actualization.
Right? That's the classic model. The self-actualization tip is, where you find creativity, morality, problem solving, all the good stuff, the stuff we all want to do.
But we usually treat it like a video game. You collect the coins, you clear the levels, you win. The source is saying, not quite.
The source is much, much stricter. It argues that for the vast majority of people, the simple people, in its own terms, those first 4 levels act as a hard ceiling.
A ceiling.
Yeah. You aren't just working on them, you're trapped by them. The core argument is that non-simple thinking, or, true self-analysis, is chemically impossible if the lower levels have alarms ringing.
Chemically impossible. So we're talking about a biological lock.
Yes. The source asserts that getting to that 5th level is the only way to become a non-simple person. There's just no other path.
And the first 4 levels have to be satisfied.
They must be.
Which feels a little extreme, doesn't it? I mean, history is full of tortured artists or, philosophers writing in war zones. Are we saying they weren't thinking deeply?
That is the natural objection, yeah.
Yeah.
But the source kind of anticipates is it argues those are the anomalies or that we're just misinterpreting their internal state. For, say, 99% of the human population, the brain is an energy-conserving machine.
Yeah.
If you're hungry, if you feel rejected, your brain marks those problems as priority 1.
Right.
And it reallocates bandwidth away from who am I to how do I survive this.
So it's a bandwidth issue. You can't run high-end software on a computer that's overheating.
Precisely. It's a prerequisite.
Okay, let's just quickly audit these gatekeeper levels because the definitions in the source are actually really specific.
Yeah, they are.
It's not just food and friends. Level 1 is physiological.
Basement. Food, drink, warmth.
Yeah.
The absolute basics. If the machine is failing, the mind just shuts down higher functions. Hard to contemplate metaphysics when you're freezing.
Right, that one's straightforward. Level 2 is safety. But the source uses specific wording here. It mentions freedom.
Yes. Absence of threats to life, health, and freedom. That inclusion of freedom is so important.
Wow.
It's not just about immediate danger. It's also about agency. It's the anxiety of being cornered, of being controlled. If you feel trapped, your brain is in a safety deficit.
Okay. Then we get to level 3, the social level. I think this one trips up the modern world the most.
The source calls it satisfaction regarding society, and it breaks it down into 3 pillars. Not being marginalized, having an intimate personal space that isn't violated.
But having friends.
And having friends.
It's not being marginalized. That's a huge one.
It is. It's about integration. I mean, if you feel like an outcast, your brain treats that as a survival threat. For our ancestors, being alone meant you were dead.
Right.
So if you don't feel like you're part of the tribe, your brain is just screaming at you to fix it.
And finally, level 4, Esteem.
Finding something for which one can respect oneself. Reputation, achievements, respect from others, all that stuff.
So here's my problem with this model, and I think a lot of listeners might be feeling this right now.
Okay.
If I need a perfect family and total safety and a great reputation and zero money worries before I'm allowed to think deeply, isn't that impossible? Who has all that?
And that's the million-dollar question. If the requirement was objective perfection, then nobody would ever reach level 5. We'd all be stuck.
We'd all be simple people forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
Even billionaires worry about their reputation. I mean, is this system just rigged?
It would be if we had to fix the reality. But this is where the source offers that aha moment you were talking about. It introduces the concept of variance.
Variance.
Yes,
Yeah.
or workarounds. The source argues that satisfying a level doesn't mean you have to fix the external situation perfectly.
What does it mean then?
It means removing the worry associated with it.
Wait, hold on. So it's not about the reality of the situation, it's about the psychology of it.
Exactly. Passing a level is just about the absence of serious concern. Let's look at the examples the source gives because they really make it clear.
Yeah.
Take health, which is a level 2 safety thing.
Okay, right. So a person might have a real threat to their health. Let's say they smoke. Objectively, that's a threat. A doctor would say you are failing level 2.
Right. You are actively harming yourself.
But if that person has internally accepted the risk, if they've looked at it and said, you know what, I'm okay with this trade-off, and they genuinely stop worrying about it,
The level is considered passed.
the level is passed.
Seriously. So you don't have to be healthy. You just have to not care that you're unhealthy.
In the context of reaching level 5, yes, because the need is closed. The anxiety is gone. The brain stops sending resources to that problem.
That is fascinating. It's like closing a background app on your phone to save battery.
That is a perfect analogy.
It doesn't matter if the app is done. You just need it to stop draining power.
Exactly. The source gives another example with the social level. Say someone was raised to be a social. They don't have friends. By the book, they're failing level 3.
Right. Society tells us you need a squad.
But what if it just absolutely does not bother them? If they're genuinely content?
Then the level is passed.
Correct. And the same thing for level 4, esteem. You might have zero external recognition, no awards, no applause. But if you recognize your own achievements, and that's enough for you, level passed.
So the barrier to entry for deep thought isn't success, it's peace.
Yes. Or maybe acceptance. The source puts it beautifully. Passing a level is about the absence of serious concern. It's about silencing those alarm bells.
That one distinction changes everything because success is hard. It's often out of our control.
Right.
But concern, that's internal. We have some agency there.
We do. But we shouldn't underestimate how hard that is. Our brains are, hardwired to worry.
True. But why is the brain so strict about this? Why can't I worry about my rent and also think about the nature of the universe?
Because thinking is expensive.
Expensive, like in calorie.
Biologically expensive.
Yeah.
The source argues that the really valuable cognitive abilities, deep analysis, building a worldview, they only open up when a person stops seriously worrying.
It requires a surplus of time and energy.
A surplus. Right. If you are constantly scanning for threats or agonizing over what people think or stressing about your next meal, you don't have a surplus. You're at a deficit.
It's the difference between thinking about what and thinking about why.
What do you mean by that?
Well, thinking about what is survival. What is that noise? What am I going to eat? That's all level 1 through 4 stuff.
Okay.
But thinking about why are we here? Why do I believe this? That's a luxury product.
Oh, that's really well put. The source says, thinking about your worldview just because, not for survival, but for interest. That kind of thinking can't grow in the soil of anxiety about tomorrow.
Interest requires safety. It can't coexist with panic.
Exactly. So simple people aren't simple because they lack capacity. They're simple because they're trapped. They're just busy dealing with all the noise from the lower levels.
Their bandwidth is maxed out.
It is. And this brings us to a very precarious position. Because even if you manage to clear the levels, even if you find that peace and start thinking deeply, you are not safe.
Wait, I thought reaching level 5 was the goal. You're there. You're a non-simple person. You made it.
You made it. But can you stay there? This is where the source introduces the concept of the rollback.
The rollback. That sounds like losing your save file in a video game.
It's not far off. The source poses a what-if question. What happens if someone breaks through, starts studying philosophy, starts self-analyzing, but then life just hits them hard?
Life tends to do that.
It does. And the source warns that if self-realization isn't finished, External shocks can pause or even destroy the whole process.
What kind of shocks are we talking about here?
The source gets very specific and pretty dramatic. It mentions things like a dictatorship being established or a war breaking out.
Wow. Okay, so major catastrophes.
Major stuff, yeah. The total destruction of your life stability. If that foundation, those first 4 levels, if it crumbles before you're fully realized, the capacity for higher thought just gets suspended.
You slide back down.
You return to survival mode.
You have to.
You have to. If a war starts, you can't afford the luxury of pondering abstract ideas. You need to find food. You need to find safety. Your brain just reallocates all that surplus energy back to the basics.
That's actually terrifying. It implies that all our intellectual growth is incredibly fragile.
It is.
We feel like our personality is this solid thing. I'm a deep thinker. But the source is saying, no, you're just a person who is currently enjoying a period of safety.
It's a very humbling realization. The source calls it a pause mechanism. Your self-realization gets put on hold. And for many people, it might never resume. You could become simple again.
This raises a really important question, though. Is there a point of no return? Is there some level you can reach where you can't slide back down, where you're just immune to the rollback?
The source asks exactly that. Is it possible to reach a state where rollback is impossible? And the author's answer is yes.
Okay.
But to do that, you have to go beyond level 5.
I thought Maslow only has 5 levels.
The classics model has 5. But this source claims that reality has far more. To be immune to the slide, you have to complete your self-realization. You have to reach a 6th level.
A hidden level.
A hidden level. And the source gets a little esoteric here, but it's fascinating. It says that while the model in the textbook stops at 5, reality contains level 6, level 36, even level 2046.
2,046 levels. Okay, now my head is spinning. What does that even mean?
It suggests infinite growth.
Yeah.
It suggests that self-actualization isn't a destination. It's not a place you just arrive and park the car. It's a continuous ascent.
Wow.
But the pre-takeaway for the rollback is that once you cross that threshold into level 6, whatever that is, you possess an internal stability that external chaos just can't touch.
You become independent of the pyramid itself, in a way.
You become independent of the needs of the pyramid.
Yeah.
Level 5, you're standing on top of it, but it's still holding you up. If the base crumbles, you fall.
But level 6 is... You're hovering.
You're hovering. Your peace is no longer contingent on your circumstances.
So if the money runs out or the war starts, the level 6 person doesn't panic.
Well, they deal with the problem, of course.
Yeah.
But they don't lose themselves. They don't lose that capacity for higher thought just because the world got hostile. They become the lighthouse, not the candle.
That sounds incredible, but also incredibly difficult. Does the source give us a map to level 6? How do we find it?
No. In fact, the author is really cryptic about it. When he's pressed on it, he just says, seek information and you will find it.
Seek and you shall find. A classic riddle.
But he adds one specific phrase that I think is the key to this whole thing. He says, nothing is hidden, but nothing sticks out.
Nothing is hidden, but nothing sticks out. That is so frustratingly vague, but also kind of inspiring.
Let's unpack it, right? Nothing is hidden means the answers aren't locked away somewhere. They're not secret knowledge. They're out in the open.
But nothing sticks out.
That means they look mundane. They look boring. They don't have flashing neon signs saying, this is the secret to wisdom.
Right. We're all looking for the magic pill or some grand ceremony.
And the answer might be something as quiet as learning to just sit in a room alone without checking your phone, or learning to let go of an insult. Those things don't stick out.
They look simple.
They look simple, but they might be the door to level 6. It puts the responsibility back on us. You have to have the eyes to see it.
You have to be looking for it.
Exactly. You have to want to find it more than you want to be distracted.
So let's just try to summarize this journey. We started with the idea that the pyramid is a filter.
Right.
If you're stuck worrying about food, safety, loneliness, or respect, you are biologically blocked from deep, non-simple thinking.
Right. Not because you aren't smart, but because you're busy surviving. Your resources are constrained.
Then we learn the hack. You don't need a perfect life. You just need to stop worrying, to free up that mental RAM.
But we also learned the danger. If you start climbing but don't finish, a crisis can knock you right back down to the bottom, the rollback.
And finally, the only real safety is in pushing past the peak, into those hidden levels. Level 6, level 2046, where your internal world is just stronger than the external world.
That's a solid summary. It reframes the whole idea of self-help, doesn't it?
It does.
It's not about getting what you want. It's about freeing your mind from the need for what you want so you can actually use your brain.
It really makes you look at your own anxieties differently. Like, am I worried about this because it matters, or am I letting this worry keep me simple?
That is the critical question.
We usually end with a takeaway, but this whole deep dive has felt like one giant takeaway about how we live our lives.
True. But I want to leave the listener with that final provocation from the source. That idea of the 2046 levels.
Go on.
We tend to pat ourselves on the back when we have a moment of insight. We think, aha, I figured it out. I'm self-actualized.
I've arrived.
I arrived, yeah.
Yeah.
But this source suggests that level 5 is just the lobby.
Just the lobby.
Just the lobby. The real building goes up into the clouds. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Nothing is hidden, but nothing sticks out. If the next level of your growth is hiding in plain sight, what are you currently overlooking? Because you're too busy looking at your own anxieties.
That is daunting.
And if there really are thousands of levels of thought above where you are right now, how far have you really climbed?
I'm going to go stare at a wall and think about that for a while. Thanks for diving in with us.
Always a pleasure.
Catch you on the next deep dive.